everybody, so it's that time of year again, and I'm saying it like it's a recurring thing. I only did this once last year, but now it's apparently a tradition. This is my top 10 books that I read in 2015. They didn't all come out in 2015, so before you're like, these are just the books that I read. Now, I had a target of reading 50 books last year. I only managed 41. It was originally 30. But I was getting quite far ahead at the beginning of the year and I got a bit cocky and I was like, I can read 50, and then kind of escaped me a little bit. But I think 41 books is a lot, and to choose my favourite 10 was quite hard. And also, trying to put them in order of my favourites. If I could, I'd just leave all of these at number 1 and walk away from this. But this is a top 10 list, so I've tried to order them, and I'm not going to lie, I feel quite anxious about it. In at number 10 is The Hunger Games: Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. Now, I read the trilogy at the beginning of the year, I think just before I went on tour with Charlie Simpson, and I think I finished Mockingjay while I was on tour on a ferry, feeling sick, actually. But just like the films, this is my favourite of the three. I think this book particularly was really well written. I think Katniss had a lot of development, and it's kind of hard, so hard explaining why you like a book. I didn't want to put this one down. I was genuinely really, really interested, and it kept me really, really entertained on tour. It's a really, really good book. What else can I say? In at number 9 is a very short book called All My Friends Are Superheroes by Andrew Kaufman. Now, this was recommended publicly by my friend Carrie in one of her videos, and she said that this was just a wonderful little book. So I picked it up and I thought, wow, this is a short read. Jeez, I think I got through this in a couple of hours, and it's a very unique kind of book. Basically, it's supposed to be very metaphorical. When I say all my friends are superheroes, basically the main character, Tom, starts describing his friends as superheroes, such as the Perfectionist or Hypno, who's like a very charming man who can convince women to get with him. You know, so imagine his friends as superheroes when really they're just normal people. And it's just a very, very interesting take on personality types and how we cope with relationship breakups and stuff like that. It's really, really good, and I really enjoyed it. In at number 8 is In Order to Live by Yeonmi Park. Now, I've only got 2 books about North Korea in this list because I feel like if I gave my honest kind of top 10 books of the year, all of them would just be non-fiction North Korea books, and that's not going to entertain anybody. So I've put in the 2 that I really didn't want to put down, and they're both autobiographies. Now, this one by Yeonmi Park. Now, Yeonmi Park, she's become quite a celebrity in South Korea, and she's really, really fighting to get the word out about North Korea and how we can help change the country and liberate the people. But this book is just very, very interesting, how she managed to escape. Now, she escaped when she was very, very young, and this story tells how she fled through China and Mongolia to get to South Korea. And it's such a sad story, but it's also really uplifting in that, you know, it's like if she can escape her dictatorship regime country, then we can smile in the morning. You know, I know it's not that easy, but it makes you feel very, very lucky to have what you have. In at number 7 is Vivian vs. the Apocalypse by Katie Coyle. Now, when I first picked this up, I thought this is just going to be very, very weird, and it was very, very weird. This is something that, even though I know that post-apocalyptic stuff has been touched upon by so many authors, this is done in such a different way, in that the apocalypse isn't like, you know, a nuclear fallout or a dystopian future. It's set just after what appears to be the apocalypse, and it's very, very good. Vivian, the main character, is very strong. Although she was quite weak at first, you see a lot of character development. Her best friend is also a great character. I'm trying to remember her name. Her name is Harp. She is a very strong, very funny, very bold, but also quite flawed character. And it's very good. The only letdown is kind of, you know, the typical, oh, he's a cute boy, I'm going to fall in love with him. I don't think the story really needed that, but overall, it was a really good read, and so is the sequel, Vivian vs. America. Now, coming in at number 6, I have spoken about this book before, and if you know anything about me, you know that my love for Carrie Hope Fletcher is pretty much undying. And it has been since she first walked into the same room as me, and it was like all the lights came on. That's the only way I can really describe what it feels like when Carrie walks into a room, the lights come on. And it's true. Honestly, if you've never been in the same room as her, I don't know if you've known happiness. I love this book. And the only reason it's at number 6 and not higher is because I feel like, number one, I know Carrie personally, and I feel like I knew quite a lot of the stories that she was telling, and I was very used to the way that she tells stories, so for me it was kind of like, you know, not skim reading, but it wasn't like something incredibly new to me. And also, this book is definitely aimed for a younger audience. This is honestly, and I've said this before, this is honestly the book that I wish I had when I was growing up. If you're going to look up to anyone in terms of having a role model about growing up and being responsible and being happy and positive, honestly, Carrie is your best bet. If I am the devil on your shoulder, Carrie is the angel. I promise you that's the best way of putting it. I love this book, even though I couldn't really take much advice from it. I did actually take some. I did actually change quite a few things about my life because of this book. So definitely pick it up and give it a read if you haven't already. I would recommend it to anyone, whether you're 13 or 30 or 306. And if that doesn't end up in the sleeve jacket of her next book, I don't know what will. Now, number 5 is a fiction book, and I don't really want to talk too much about the topic simply because it's a very sensitive topic and I don't want to get anything wrong. I don't want to mess with pronouns. I don't want to discredit this book in any way by getting the plot wrong. So I'm just going to read out the blurb of The Art of Being Normal by Lisa Williamson. David has always been an outsider. His parents think he's gay. The school bully thinks he's a freak. Only his 2 best friends know the real truth. David wants to be a girl. On his first day at his new school, Leo has one goal: to be invisible. Attracting the attention of the most beautiful girl in year 11 is definitely not part of that plan. When Leo stands up for David in a fight, an unlikely friendship forms. It's basically a tale of Leo and David becoming really, really close friends, and also dealing with David coming out as transgender. Like I said, I don't even feel qualified to talk about that topic. I feel like I don't know enough about it, and I don't have the experience, and I think it would be wrong for me to talk about it. But let me tell you that if you don't know much about people who do come out as transgender or genderqueer, this is definitely a good book. It deals with the topic really, really well and really delicately, and it's also just a really entertaining read. And I hope that if you have been or are going through the same issues as some of the characters in this book, that you agree with me and that it's a suitable book. Please let me know in the comments below if I'm wrong. In at number 4 is The Girl with 7 Names by Hyun-Soo Lee. This is the other book about North Korea in this video. Hyun-Soo, which is not her real name, obviously, The Girl with 7 Names. She's had to change her name 6 times. I mean, I'm doing the math in my head. I'm presuming it's 6 times. Hyun-Soo actually had a longer time in China living undercover because if you're caught by the Chinese government, then you are sent back to North Korea to be tortured or to be executed. So her story is a lot more about being stealthy and trying to survive in China, in a country that will basically send you back to your homeland if you are caught. And it's a very sad book. It's not an easy read, is how I'd put it, but it is very, very good. And I don't know, I don't know how to explain. I don't want to say it's a good book because that has the connotation of being light-hearted and entertaining, and this certainly isn't that. It is entertaining, but in a very different way. I hope that makes sense. Number 3 is a book that I really, really enjoyed, and I will be honest, I actually listened to the audiobook of this. This is the only one on the list where I listened to the audiobook, and I feel like it did improve my experience because it was read by the author. It is You're Never Weird on the Internet, almost, by Felicia Day. Felicia is, I can actually call her one of my friends now. I met her in LA last year and we got on really, really well, and we both hated loud noises and we both couldn't talk to other people, and it was wonderful. And she is so funny and so intelligent and such a strong female. I love her so much. That in no way has added bias to my opinion on this book. The audiobook was read by her and her personality shines through. This is basically her autobiography, talking about how she made a name for herself on the internet and how she went from just trying to find small acting jobs in LA to building her own web series from the ground up, The Guild, which is a fantastic series. I watched it all the way through after reading this book. It's so good. If you want to cut a path for yourself on the internet, or just start your own business, or just do your own thing but you don't know where to start, Felicia is so inspiring for that. She started her own series in her garage, and she just became a phenomenon, and I love her. I have so much love for Felicia Day. I can't stop. I will stop now. Oh, I love her. She's not watching, but I love you, Felicia. I really do. Number 2 on this list, and this is a very close number 2. This actually kind of technically should be a joint first, because I really love this. This is the Manifesto on How to Be Interesting by Holly Bourne. This is one of the first books that I read of the year, and I still remember it as one of my favourites throughout the year, even though it's been about a year since I read it. And what's really cool is if you read some of her more recent books, I'm on the sleeve praising this book, so you know I'm telling the truth. Bree is by no means popular. Most of the time she hates her life, her school, her never there parents, so she writes. But when Bree is told she needs to stop shutting the world out and start living a life worth writing about, the Manifesto on How to Be Interesting is born, a manifesto that will change everything. But the question is, at what cost? Now, from what I remember, because it's been a year, I should have done my research really, Bree starts an online blog talking about her life, and she decides to try and be a more interesting person. Bree is basically a wallflower. She sort of just, you know, she stands on the edge of a room at parties, you know, she's never really there. Bree tries really hard to be more popular and act like popular girls, and she starts writing about it. A little bit known to her friends, you know, that she's writing this blog. It's such an interesting book. Even though it's young adult, I loved it. I thought it was really, really good. It really covers the topic of peer pressure fantastically well, and I honestly think Holly Bourne is one of the best young adult authors that we have today, and I'm not just lying about that. I honestly do. Read all of her books. She's such a talented writer, and that's why it's number 2. Now, number 1. What is my favourite book of 2015? What took it from the amazing book by Holly Bourne? Right. If you know me, which I'm presuming you do, you know that I don't lie. It's not in my nature to lie. If I think a book is bad or poorly written, I will tell you. I will say it, no matter whether the person writing it is my friend or not. So you already know from that I know this person. And I'm also going to be completely honest here. When I first heard that this person was writing a book, I had the thought, because I was very biased about YouTube books at the time, so you know it's a YouTuber, I thought, great, it's going to be some self-indulgent crap, because that was kind of the perception I had of YouTubers in their 20s writing books about their life. I'm like, you haven't even lived your life. This book changed my opinion on YouTubers writing books. Honestly, and that must be a good book to do that, because you know I've got some strong opinions on that. Tyler Oakley. You have written my favourite book of 2015. I'm not saying that to kiss ass. Absolutely not. Tyler, if I thought your book was shit, you know that I'd say it to you. You know I would. I don't think I have ever, and I don't know if this says anything about me, I don't think I've ever laughed out loud to a book. Because I just don't do that. I don't really cry at books. I don't really laugh at books. I was laughing a lot with Binge. I really was. This book shocked me. Like, when I first started reading it, I was like, there's so many swear words, and this is so risque and so honest and so out there. You know, it was such an honest account of Tyler's life, and there are embarrassing photos in here. Tyler basically tells everything about his life. When he goes on about this book on his YouTube channel, and you think, yeah, YouTuber tells all, great. No, really, he does tell all. Stuff that you wouldn't think Tyler Oakley would tell you. Tyler is so inspiring, and before I read this book, I didn't realize how inspiring he was, and this book kind of made me realize that I need to work as hard as I can with my job. If you want to call this a job or not call it a job, whatever, I need to work as hard as I can to get what I want out of it. You'd think at 24 I'd already know that, but honestly, Tyler, thank you for writing Binge, honestly. Thank you for making me laugh, and thank you for teaching me many things, and just thank you for being so honest in your book and not just bullshitting kids like, just smile, everything's gonna be okay. I started a YouTube channel, I became successful, because this book is so much more than that. It's so truthful, and that is why it's my number 1 book of 2015. Everyone watching, whatever your opinion is on Tyler Oakley, and whatever your opinion is on YouTubers writing books, please pick this up. I honestly mean it. Enough gushing. Oh, wow. I'm just, my room is so wet from all the gushing. Oh no, that sounds wrong. Oh no, I meant like emotional. Oh god, that sounds wrong too. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this top 10 list. Let me know what your top 10 books were that you read in 2015 down below in the comments. Let me know if you agreed or disagreed with my choices. It's completely okay if you think that some of the books that I read were rubbish. You are welcome to say so, of course. And just let me know. Let's have a discussion down in the comments. And thank you to all of the authors of these books for making my year, really kind of defining it in books. Does that make sense? Is that corny? Defining my life? A little bit too corny. I've already finished my first book of the year, which was an audiobook by Jon Ronson called So You've Been Publicly Shamed. I may do a review on that. I'm currently reading Let It Snow by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Miracle, I think is her name. I'm so bad with names. And I'm also listening to an audiobook called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert? I don't know, but I'm thinking of doing separate videos reviewing all of the books that I'm currently reading this year. Let me know if you'd like that. But until the next video, I will catch you later. Bye!